D major scale tone triads, first shown in bar chords, then I'll talk a little bit about their construction. D major, E minor, F sharp minor, G major, A major, B minor, C sharp diminished, which is like a C sharp minor. Here it is, down an octave. C sharp minor, this is the fifth, flat the fifth. C sharp diminished up 12 frets at the 16th fret. C sharp diminished, then D major again. And numbering those chords, it's 1 major, 2 minor, 3 minor, 4 major, 5 major, 6 minor, 7 diminished, 1 major. Bringing some of those higher chords down in the lower range so you could play it on acoustic guitar, for instance. 1 major, 2 minor, 3 minor, 4 major, 5 major, 6 minor, 7 diminished, C sharp diminished, just like C sharp minor, but I had to flat the fifth, which is this note on the second string, and there's a fifth on the fifth string as well, but I'm going to just omit that note. So with these notes that were part of the C sharp minor, you see here, I need to flat the fifth. 1, flat 3, 5 in the key of C sharp. I need to flat the 5. This is 1, flat 3, 5. I need 1, flat 3, flat 5. That's diminished. 1, flat 3, flat 5. Then I'll double the bass here with my thumb. So D major, E minor, F sharp minor, G major, A major, B minor, C sharp diminished, and D major. Those are constructed by using the D major scale and playing every other note for 3 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 3, 5 played together make a D major chord. Once you establish the notes in it, D, F sharp, A, you can invert them, putting the D in the upper octave, for example, D, F sharp, A, or invert again, I'll put the F sharp note on the first string, D, F sharp, A. And here's another D major scale. And I'll play from 2, building a chord there. I chose this one so I could play the notes all at once when I'm done. 2, 4, 6 all at once. From 2, I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Every other note is 2, 4, 6. That's E minor. And once I establish those notes, E, G, B, I can invert them. E, G, B, E, G, B. As long as I have E, G, B, I can play them all over the fretboard. It's all E minors. And notes can be doubled in this E, G, B here. I could double the E on the second string, however, in this particular fingering, it's kind of ridiculous to finger. But that's doubling the E. Here I have a bar chord that's E, B, E, G, B, doubling the root and the fifth. There are 3 pairs of chords in Eye in the Sky, which have their roots 3 steps apart, a third apart inclusively. The first 2 chords in the introduction, B minor to G. B minor is built on the 6th step of the D major scale, and 2 steps down, B, A, G, is the G chord on the 4th step. So B is 6 minor and G is 4 major in the D major scale, and their roots, B to G, are a third. Then another third relationship, instead of going from B down to G, is B up to D. Or you can look at it in reverse, D down to B. B is on 6 of the D major scale, 7 is C sharp, and 1 is D. So B to D is a third up. B minor to D major is a third up. Then from D, there's another pair. It's just why I chose this song. This is why I chose the song Eye in the Sky. There's 3 pairs of chords where the root is a third apart, and each one is, the chord is played for 2 bars, so it gives you time to stretch out and work out improv on them or writing melodies on them. D to F sharp minor is the third one. D is on the first step of the D major scale. E is the second step. And F sharp is on the third step, F sharp minor. So D to F sharp minor is another pair of chords in thirds. Eye in the Sky, voice leading for chords with roots in thirds. First in the intro, there's a B minor to G. And here in the 7th position is a D major scale. And from 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm playing every other note. 6, 7, 1, 2, 3 for 3 notes. 6, 1, 3. And that makes a B minor chord. And in the key of B, this is its root, 3rd, and 5th. It's actually a flatted 3rd, but just in general terms, it's root, 3rd, 5th for B minor. To change to G, this is a G chord in the C form in the 7th position, G form bar chord. And if I excerpt just the notes on strings 4, 3, 2, where I just built this B minor, I can see B minor to G would require changing this one note. And the scale, the D scale, that's where it's 6, 1, 3 of the G scale is changing to 6, 1, 4. Well, the G chord in the D scale is every other note from 4, 4, 6, 1, every other note. Remember, after is 7, when you count up, 1 is the next number. It's a cycle of 7. So 4, 6, 1. And this B minor chord, 6, 1, 3 of the D major scale needs to be 4, 6, 1. Well, 6, 1 is shared by both. 6, 1, 3, and the 3 then of the B minor chord needs to go up a scale step. Don't think of it in terms of a half step or a whole step when you want to think of this general rule to apply to other steps, such as the D to B minor now. Here's D in a new scale fingering. D major scale here. And from 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, every other note from 1 makes a 1 major chord, 1, 3, 5. And this is a B minor. I'll show you in a roundabout way. Here's a D minor chord. I'm sure you know that. Double the note on the first string onto the fourth string. That's an F. I'm doubling it here. This is also a D minor. Now that I've doubled that F, I'll omit this one, and I'll use that as a form. This is a D minor form chord on the strings 4, 3, 2, and it's named after this note. That's D, but I want that on B, so I just move this up here. And now that's B minor. So D can change to B minor to this chord. And the voice leading, remember what I said on the last one, with the B minor, if the root goes down a third, like B-A-G, that's down 3 letters, right, inclusively, B-A-G, B-A-G. And now we're going D, C sharp, B. We're going from D to B minor, so it's still down a third. Generally, it's the same idea. And when you do that, you raise the 5th of the original chord 1 scale tone. That changed B minor to G. Up here we have D, which is 1, 3, 5. Raise the 5th of scale tone, same rule. Now you get B minor, you see? It's the same as this D minor down here inverted and transposed to B minor. So again, raising the 5th of any major scale tone triad in any key one scale tone produces the chord, the triad chord, whose root is down 2 scale tones. Now, if you notice on the chart above, the intro, and in the middle, the section A, bars 32, 35, and at the end, section C, those are the same thing. So you just really need to read the first two that I've just gone over, and the fourth one, which says the beginning of section B, and that's D, not going down a third, this time it's up a third. D, E, F sharp, that's up a third, right, inclusively, like this. D, E minor, F sharp minor, going up a third. So I'll show a D chord here, and that's 1, 3, 5. And again, you can take a minor chord from down here and move it up. Like here's A minor, you know that's A minor, named after this note in the third string, and it's transposable just by moving it up. That's the beauty of the guitar. And up here, that's an F sharp note that names it, so this is F sharp minor. So D major here can change to F sharp minor with the fewest possible, the smallest changes of notes by just changing this note here. So generally state what the rule is so you can apply it to any step. Don't say go down a half step or go from step 1 to 7, anything specific, just be general. A triad progressing with the root progressing up a third, D, E, F sharp minor to F sharp minor, that's up a third, D to F sharp, needs to lower the root, the original chord, it's here, 1 scale tone. In the D scale, that's 1, and we're lowering it 1 scale tone. Now if we were on some other chord, that might be a whole step, it might be 2 frets, but here it's 1 fret. But just state it as going down a scale step. Then you don't have to change the rule for any other step of the scale. It's the same idea. So this is D major, and if I lower the root a scale step, now I get F sharp minor. And I can apply that anywhere else. Let's take a G major chord here. We had that earlier. This is kind of inverting what we did earlier. So the rule we just came up with was if you want the root, like G, to go up a third, G-A-B, up a third, when D went to B minor, D went to F sharp minor, excuse me, the root was going up a third, and now we have G, and we want to go up a third to B minor, G-A-B. G is on the 4th step of the D scale, and B minor is on the 6th step. So the rule was you descend the root 1 scale tone. In the scale here, that's 4, and we descend it 1 scale tone. Now we get B minor, and you know that's B minor, part of this B minor bar chord.
In illustrating voice leading with roots moving in thirds, I Am Sky is an excellent example, and the intro has the root B moving to the root G with triads, B minor to G major, and B minor has an F sharp note. Those are notated in the intro on page 1, and G has a G note. So the 5th of B minor, spelled B, D, F sharp, respectively root 3rd and 5th, is raised to G. F sharp is raised to G to make a G chord. Where you see, by the way, an F sharp note in bar 4, this is where the original melody continues using the F sharp, still sounding a B minor chord, which with added with the G bass note makes a G major 7th. And that sort of thing is done all the time. I call those secondary roots, and we'll study that separately. In section A, it starts with the chord progression D to B minor, and that's down a third again. So the fifth of the D should raise one scale step to change it to B minor. And D is spelled D F sharp A, and B minor is spelled D F sharp B, or in order from its root, B D F sharp. But still, it's that the fifth of the D chord A is raised a scale step to B. Then towards the end of the A section, there's a B minor to G chord change. So that this time the B minor is moving down the scale to G again, as it did at the beginning. And you see a bunch of F sharp notes annotated in bars 16 and 17. And then when it changes to the G chord and the G minor chord, in bars 18, 19, you see G's annotated. In section B of Eye in the Sky, on bar 42, there's a D chord progressing with its root up a third to F sharp minor, D major to F sharp minor. When a major scale tone triad root moves up a third, the root of the chord goes down a scale step. In this case, D F sharp A is changing to down a scale step from D is C sharp F sharp A, or spelled in the order from the F sharp root, F sharp A C sharp. And you can see D notes annotated in bars 42, 43, 46, 47. Changing to C sharp notes in the bars that follow 44, 45, and then 48, 49, the C sharp notes. So that's that voice leading. And section C follows below, and starting at bar 52, and you see, just like the intro and in section A, there's a B minor to G chord change, and the fifth of B minor, the F sharp note, is raising a scale tone to the G note to change it to a G chord.